Years ago, she walked that narrow passageway onto this court for her first Grand Slam final. Physically strong as a teenager, but emotionally fragile. She was routed by Martina Hingis. Since then, it's been a long struggle with herself and with the top players to get back to this ultimate stage. But today, here she is, perhaps her best chance ever to win a Grand Slam at 26 years old, to finally collect that first major title. She's riding a crest of confidence up to the year-end championships in Los Angeles, playing her best tennis. And this surface certainly suits her style. But the obstacle is a huge one, not in stature. Justine Hardenne stands about 5'6", but she is a proven pressure player. 4-1 in Grand Slam finals, 31-11 in all finals in her career. She is the favorite here today to collect her 5th Grand Slam title. She won it here 2 years ago, a title she was unable to defend last year because of injury. She is a fighter. She's had to work her way to this final by defeating Lindsay Davenport and Martina Sharapova in tough physical three-setters, and there she is walking out. She says she is born for moments like this, to win big matches on the big stage. And is this finally the moment on the big stage for Mauresmo walking behind her there? Welcome in Brad Gilbert to our spot in the Superbox here. Mauresmo was your pre-tournament pick to win this title. It was something of a bold pick at that time, but here she is playing great tennis.
She's playing with a lot of confidence. One thing I really like about her is unforced errors this tournament. She's played a little more conservatively, kept a lot of balls in play, fighting, moving, and you know me, spin to win. She gets the ball up, and I think that could be the difference today. She's going to have to get the ball up on the shoulders of Henin, who's not very tall. If she can get it up, draw a short reply, then use her backhand up the line.
Of course, there's two ways to look at this match: X's and O's and strategy, and the battle between the ears as opposed to between the lines. And Mauresmo has had to cope with that on the big stage. And is she ready for this moment?
Well, it's taken 7 years to get back. I think she's a lot better player. Obviously, it should have come sooner, but you know what? She's living in the moment. And when you're coaching something like that, it don't matter what's happened in the past. Today, I think she's played the best tennis over the last 12 days. Just let it fly.
But Justine Hardenne, the first to acknowledge that this, the ultimate match, is different than the previous 6 rounds at a Grand Slam. We're waiting for these players. We'll hear from them about this matchup. And we'll come back live down under inside Rod Laver Arena on a rainy Saturday, the first women's Grand Slam title match of 2006.
ESPN2's exclusive presentation of the 2006 Australian Open, brought to you by the 2006 Sonata, a Hyundai like you've never seen before.
And welcome back. Rainy outside, comfortable inside. The seats all filled in Rod Laver Arena. Justine Hardenne seated 8th here, but that's because of injuries and inactivity. And Amelie Mauresmo seated 3rd. Mauresmo, what is she thinking at this moment? It was 7 years ago with the roof open. She walked out against Martina Hingis. She'd been hounded by the press. It had been a controversial run up to that final. Here she is now, back in a slam final for the first time in 7 years. But Brad, this is a woman that, despite her accomplishments, and the year-end championship is the next best thing to a major, continues to be hounded by the press. Look at this headline today. This is not even the tabloid. This is one of the more respectable papers in Melbourne. Can Amelie Mauresmo finally put all chokes aside? That's harsh.
I mean, I was drinking my coffee this morning, and I saw that. I almost choked in my coffee. I mean, she's not losing to bad players in the semis. She's a tremendous player. There's a lot more depth in the women's game. But for them to say that, and you know if she doesn't win, they're going to pile on her like nobody. She's got to live for the moment, keep doing what she's been doing, and she's going to come good today.
That is your prediction, as it has been. Meanwhile, Hardenne loves this country. She's won 13 straight matches at this event, 20 straight in Australia, and has not yet lost a match in 2006. She was the junior champion in 2004. And here's both players on what it takes to win on the ultimate stage.
Grand Slam final is always something very, very special. It's a different kind of atmosphere, different kind of tension, and you feel it. It is different. And she will have great motivation for sure to get her first Grand Slam title.
I'm getting tougher and tougher as my career is going and as the experience is running. I haven't won a big one. I'm still in position where I can, still believe in doing it, and that's what I'm going to try to do.
It's going to be 50-50 because both of us, we won this title.
I'm expecting a tough one. She's not going to give me anything, but I know that.
Both of us, we have a great game, and we're going to do everything we can to win this match.
Well, we've seen Hardenne collect major titles when her opponent has really not been able to deal with the pressure very well of a final, whether it's Kim Clijsters or Mary Pierce of the French. What are signs that the pressure might be getting to Mauresmo in this match? What should viewers look for?
I think first, right away, is the movement. When you're a little nervous, the brain doesn't talk to the feet, and you don't start moving, and when you don't get there, you pull the trigger, you make mistakes. I want to see her light on the feet, moving, and just, keeping some balls in play early, and then open up your game. But the feet go, the ball is gone.
Head-to-head, Hardenne has a 4-3 edge. She's won the last two. Let's have your tail of the tape of this championship match, Brad.
All right, let's look at the ground strokes here. The forehand, obviously, Henin. She's got the more versatile forehand. Mauresmo, the weaker side. The backhand, two of the best one-handers in the game. Mauresmo, a little more spin, a little more power for Henin. The serve, I was struggling with this. I give them both a check. I think it was even. Neither one of them served that. I mean, Henin's probably got a little more pop. The net game, definitely Mauresmo will be at the net more. The return, I give Henin more versatile. Foot speed, both fleet of foot. And intangibles, definitely Henin. Been there, done it before. And Mauresmo, the 7-year itch, just my feeling.
Go with that gut feeling. If you enjoy the backhand, as Brad likes to give a tribute to Vic Braden on that side of the circuit, it's the first final in a Grand Slam between two one-handed backhanders since '98. The epic Novotná Tosia at Wimbledon final.
Oh, that was an epic.
Those are some good-looking backhands in this match today. Let's go to Dick Enberg and Mary Carrillo for the call. Dick.
All right, Chris. No raining on this parade today as the 2 weeks of excitement of the world's greatest players draw us to this championship Saturday. Justine and Hardenne won here 2 years ago. Couldn't defend her title, Mary Carrillo, because of injuries and illness last year. She's back and she's winning against Amelie Mauresmo. Has to be the sentimental choice. 7 years since she's been in the final. And at 26, that's old by tennis standards. Only 3 players in the Open era have won their first Grand Slam after age 26. Maybe this is the time, but it's a backhanded compliment, this championship final.
Well, it really is. I mean, I'm a big fan of one-handed backhands because when you look at players like Federer, like Justine, like Amelie Mauresmo, if they've got a one-handed backhand, the first thing I think is good. They can play from everywhere on the court. They're willing to volley as well. And they have 2 of the best-looking backhands. They're not really the same, though. I mean, if you have a look, Mauresmo, she's pretty open stance, and it gets her right back into the court. Mauresmo, she'll put a lot of spin on the ball. She can chip under it. She can flatten it out. You can see she's a little tighter. She's. I think that I actually like Mauresmo's more than this one because I feel like Hardenne falls back off of her backhand an awful lot. But that said, she hits it a lot harder. So I think sometimes she falls away from the shot just so that she can roll over it more and get a lot more on it. They both have magnificent backhands. But the big difference really is that Anna's forehand, which no one talks about as much because maybe it's not as
You
great.
like it.
I think her forehand's much better than her backhand, and I know it's better than Mauresmo's forehand.
Well, Mauresmo, the quality of her play and why she's so deserving of finally getting that Grand Slam title. 14 out of the last 16 Grand Slams. She's made it at least to the quarterfinals. Yeah. There's nothing but excellence in her game.
Well, she has done well, and she's done well on every surface, Mauresmo. Honestly, I feel like, as you can see, she's here today, and she was here. That's the only time she ever got to a major final. The French Open is always going to be hard for her because she gets so tight trying to do well in front of her home fans. At Wimbledon, see, I still think that's her best surface because it's a fast, slick surface for her, the grass, and it forces her to be aggressive. The Open, she's been playing pretty well into that one too. But honestly, I really feel like this is a little like Ivan Lendl. He was 0-4 in Grand Slam finals, just like Mauresmo, until the '84 French Open. And, John McEnroe basically handed it to him there. He was up. He was only a couple of games away from winning that one. John went away. He got tight. If Ivan came through, he needed help doing it. And then, of course, he just went on. I think Mauresmo needs help today to win this. And then hopefully, she'll come good everywhere else and believe in herself.
First exchange to Mauresmo. French #1. Of course, Belgium, a bordering country to France, and their homes just hours apart. And Hardenne from the French-speaking section of her country, Belgium.
30 love.
Big question again. Will Mauresmo beat herself? She feels more confident and more physically fit than any time in her career. Announced that publicly, and Hardenne said this is the best she's felt in 2 years.
$40.
3 easy points for Mauresmo. First approach. Just missed the volley.
40-15.
Part of the enjoyment of this match is going to be how well both women cover the court. Foot speed and quickness, assets to both. Amelie Mauresmo with the opening game, her second Australian Open final, and with us a woman who made it to the finals twice herself, Mary Jo Fernandez.
Thanks, Dick. I talked to Carlos Rodriguez, Justine's coach for the last 9 years, earlier today, and asked him how Justine had recovered from her last 2 tough matches against Davenport and Sharapova, and he said that surprisingly physically she's doing great. They hit about 45 minutes yesterday and she feels good, but mentally she's a bit worn out. She says the match against Sharapova took a lot out of her emotionally because it was so intense. I also asked Carlos strategy. What does Justine need to do today against Mauresmo? And he said very specifically she needs to hit up the center of the court, take the angles away from Mauresmo, and when she attacks the Mauresmo forehand on the big points, don't do it with a lot of pace. Give her the slice, give her the high ball, and lastly, she must come to net, because if not, it will be a very long day at the office.
That sounds about right, Mary Jo.
He knew what to do.
Yeah.
Easier said than done, though.
Kidding. Now trying right there, and Hardenne to center the ball and then create an angle herself, but she missed there.
Makes her tax home in Monte Carlo. There's her record a year ago when she won 4 titles. One of those, the major.
She used to train in Florida for parts of the year. Had a fitness trainer there as well, and now she's just pretty much spending all her time in Monte Carlo when she's off the road. She's got a new fitness trainer, a guy who wants her to be more flexible, not quite as beefed up. And she prefers not having to go to 2 different places to train. She's leaner, but they both are at this tournament. And they both show that they've got full games from the backcourt
15-all.
and up at the net as well. And Justine underseeded at 8, but she missed last year's Australian Open with a knee injury. Had it easy for the first few rounds, as you can see, and then she had to play the then world's #1 Lindsay Davenport and Maria Sharapova. So she's had 2 rough rounds to get here.
Losing the both first sets of both those matches, having to rally against Davenport and Sharapova to make it to this final today.
And guess what? Venus was up in that part of the draw as well. And Serena was in that half. And Serena Williams was in Amelie Mauresmo's half, and so too was Mary Pierce. Mauresmo didn't have to face either of them to get to this final. You're going to see bigger numbers, winners and errors from Justine. So this is pretty much how Amelie Mauresmo has gotten her way into the final. She's been watching her opponents miss. She's not hit a lot of winners through the 6 rounds to get here. She's basically been playing positive tennis by not being negative.
Meanwhile, you're hinting that Anna Hardenne is a risk-reward, more of a risk-reward type player.
She is, but I still feel, Dick, that Mauresmo will have to step up her aggression to win this.
Couple of break points for Mauresmo to take the early lead.
That's very sweet. Beautiful start from Amelie Mauresmo. She could not have asked for more. Even a miss-hit she hit in the middle of this rally stayed in. And that's a well-judged lob to the backhand side for the break.
Winning 8 of the first 9 points and a 2-love lead. Makes her home in Switzerland. Excellent record last year. She too won 4 titles, 19 in her career. 1 less, or 5 less than her opponent Anna Hardenne. Quarterfinalist and a finalist 7 years ago. And that's the longest gap of any player in the Open era to go to a Grand Slam final. Louis Courteau, 4 years in the camp of Mauresmo.
Mauresmo's road, as we've said, was cleared because Mary Pierce was out of the way, and so too Serena Williams. Michaela Krajicek had to retire after dropping the first set to Mauresmo, so she didn't play a full round there, and she didn't play a full round, of course, in the semis either, when Kim Clijsters went over on her ankle. Torn ligaments and is out for at least 2 months now.
30-15.
She didn't feel it was that serious, the injury, when she left Melbourne, but then the examination indicating the ankle did have some ligament damage. So who knows how long she'll be out. And while she'll be #1 next week when it's announced, she'll lose that #1 ranking quickly. It happened at 2-3 in the 3rd set. A right ankle and serious damage done, sad to report. #2 seed Clijsters trying to follow up her U.S. Open win last fall with a victory here in Australia. Mary, with
40.
the roof closed on this rainy Saturday in Melbourne, it does sound like an aviary. Yeah, little musical accompaniment from our feathered friends.
Well, that makes sense. And here in Australia, they're called birds. The women playing out there. It's Birds Day.
Game Mauresmo.
And Amelie Mauresmo, a terrific start, 3-love.
Mauresmo leads 3 games to love.
Taste of the topical scenery here and there. It's one of the birds, maybe main vocalist. I thought that was where the aria was emanating.
Have a quick look at the numbers so far. Amelie Mauresmo hasn't hit a winner yet, and she's up 3-love. That's how she has been playing her way into this final. Not nearly as bold and aggressive as her opponent. So far, that's working to her advantage.
Who's the better front runner of the two?
Well, Anna Hardenne, we've seen it. She's done it again here, Dick. She dropped the first set in the quarterfinals and recovered, dropped the first set in the semis and recovered. She doesn't care what the score is. She'll just keep banging away.
Whereas Amelie, to get off to a good start really is critical for her, don't you think?
No, I think it helps her a lot. Look, what Mauresmo is trying to do here is, this is uncharted territory for her to get. It's been 7 years since she's gotten this close to a major, and as we all know, the hardest thing to do is something you've never done before. But she dropped that first set against Kim Clijsters in the semis and recovered from it. And could have beaten Kim even had Kim not gotten hurt.
A lot of choices for Mauresmo on that shot. Could have gone left, right, or over the top.
Because these two have a lot of respect for one another. They've played 7 times. It's pretty even, as you can see. Anna Hardenne winning last summer, right before the U.S. Open, but that went to 3 sets. Anna Hardenne prefers somebody who hits the ball a lot cleaner than Mauresmo, who hits it pretty hard, constantly. She's tough enough to get back a lot of that stuff. Amelie changes the spin, the speed, the height of her shots, and it's not always easy for 5'6" Anna Hardenne to adjust to that and get aggressive.
Bad luck for Anna Hardenne, and another break point. Mauresmo. Things are going well for the French woman.
And she still hasn't struck a winner, Dick. Just being solid out there. Moving well, giving herself time to hit all of her spins.
break.
This is beautiful stuff from Mauresmo.
A 4-love start, up a double break.
Keep in mind as we look at these numbers that twice in this championship, Mauresmo has not had to complete a match. So obviously she might not have as many aces or double faults or winners, but the more important thing to notice is that she just has gotten this far without hitting a lot of big shots. Far less than Anna Hardenne.
And that's bearing out in this championship match. 1 winner, 9 unforced errors for Anna Hardenne. No winners, 2 unforced for Mauresmo. Anna Hardenne having difficulty buying a point.
Well, but remember, Anna Hardenne, when she played Lindsay Davenport, she got just dusted in that first set. And she, to my mind, she just wasn't used to the weight of shot, the pace and length of the ball. And in the second set, she made her adjustments and played much better and beat Davenport. It seems like it's taking her a while to get used to all of Mauresmo's shots. All that kind of stuff.
In fact, against Davenport, was broken all 4 of her service games in the opening set, and then came back and won handily in 3. A rare error from Mauresmo's end.
(30-15).
Heavy rains. This is the worst weather we've had the 2 weeks in Melbourne.
It's the All England Club. And in fact, within 2 years, Wimbledon will have the same sort of retractable roof as Labour Arena enjoys, and the Vodafone Arena here as well.
So 15,000 fans awakened this morning knowing they had tickets and knew they were going to see the championship final. Backhand off.
Well, if she's getting it up high there, Dick, you know, Mauresmo's rolling it up into the high shoulder area of Anna Hardenne. It's hard to be aggressive from there.
(40-30).
We're in Melbourne, Australia, the climax of the 2006 Australian Open Women's Championship. Amelie Mauresmo, the number 3 seed from France. Belgium's Justine Anna Hardenne, who won this title 2 years ago, has 4 Grand Slam singles titles wins in her career against Amelie Mauresmo, still looking for her first major after a 7-year period. She's finally back in a final. 99. She made it to the finals here, lost to Martina Hingis. And Amelie Mauresmo up 4-love early. So again, the height of the bounce coming into Anna Hardenne, hitting a lot of shots off her neck, off the top of her shoulder. Point for 5-love start for Amelie Mauresmo.
Deuce.
Mary, you mentioned that in '84 it was Yvonne Lendl at the French Open, coming from 2 sets down and a break to beat John McEnroe. The year before, Yannick Noah won the French title for his country. This young woman, then Amelie Mauresmo, an interested spectator. Finally, the break point in Hardenne.
Well, that's the kind of winner that Hardenne needs to start making now, and perhaps this will provide some emotional acceleration for the Belgian. Get into this first set. You're right, Dick. In 1983, this woman was 4 years old, watching on television as Yannick Noah became the Roland Garros champion and the hero to his nation. And that's when she looked up at her mom and said, that's what I want to do when I grow up. And she is much loved in France. She had a tough fall last fall. She didn't play terribly well, lost in the quarterfinals of the US Open. Then they played the Federation Cup semis at Roland Garros, where she's had so many tough times. And she lost her matches there as well. Russia beat France from the packed house.
Yannick Noah hasn't been a Frenchman or Frenchwoman to win that title since '83 at Roland Garros. And talk about being a national hero as he beat Mats Wilander. And continues to be a superstar in France. His son, by the way, making some headlines now at the University of Florida on that Gator basketball team. Top-notch player.
Game.
A shocking start. Amelie Mauresmo, 5-love. What great anticipation for the men's final tomorrow. 3:30 a.m., 12:30 on the West Coast, and then the replay at noon on Sunday, 9 o'clock on the West Coast. Roger Federer still aiming for the Grand Slam in the calendar year against the amazing young Greek Cypriot Marcos Baghdatis. Hardenne battling to get on the board here in the opening set.
15-love.
Mary Jo Fernandez with us down at courtside.
Dick and Mary, it's interesting watching courtside the pace of shot. Justine Hardenne is trying to press so much more. She is hitting harder, but I'm not sure why she's feeling so rushed to do something so quickly in a rally. She doesn't have a lot of margin on her shots. Remember, she has a lot of spin too, so she can hit high over the net like Mauresmo's been doing. Mauresmo hits that high ball, it goes deep in the court, and she gets back to the center of the court, and that is enough right now to be pressuring Hardenne.
Anna looks a little jumpy, doesn't she, Mare?
I think mentally, like her coach said, she's a little fatigued.
That's so nice. Compare that against the presence and the body language from Amelie Mauresmo. She looks relaxed out there. She looks fresh and really in control.
Delivering her first winner of the match. Just 3 points away from a bagel set. And Hardenne had a break point in the last game, unable to convert, and now 2 points to log her first game of the match.
There's her second winner of the day.
She's found
again
that
from the
corner.
backhand.
Jolly good shot indeed.
She goes from carving underneath it to rolling over it. One explosive action.
Finally, for the Hardenne fans, a chance to cheer. It's 5-1.
First time we've heard her say allez.
Mauresmo leads 5-1.
Now, Roger Federer, the world's #1, the heavy favorite to win this Australian Open. Many feel this might be the year he takes all 4 of the major titles. And who is this guy? 20 years old, the Greek Cypriot, Marcos Baghdatis. All he's done is beat the #2. Andy Roddick, #4, Nalbandian, and #6-7, Ivan Lubicic. 3 of the top 7 players in the world, or seeds, go down against Baghdatis in this championship. That's tomorrow, the final on the men's side. Malik, who had a sensational run at the Australian Open a year ago and been bothered by an illness, a ear virus. Now a television commentator here during the Open.
Looks like she's got some money on this match.
Yes, he's serious. Her column today, she refused to pick a winner.
No, that was bad form.
15-30.
Maybe thinking about what might have been for her. Last year, as we left Melbourne, there were so many positives about her game and what she might do.
And the Alicia Molik of 2006, Martina Hingis.
Coach Porto liked that volley. It's 30-all.
Well, it was set up. It was an easy volley. It was set up by a very fine, tough for Anna Hardenne approach shot.
Henin Hardenne scrambling, and it takes Mauresmo to set point. So Amelie Mauresmo owns the opening set impressively, 6-1. A precious set away from a major title. Chris?
All right, Dick, thank you. And no signs so far of the nerves we talked about pre-match. Brad, have you ever seen a player play a better set in the final with a winner total of only 3? And all those came in the last couple games.
Yeah, 3-9, like the stats are lying. But you know what? Emily is really playing to the plan. Getting the ball up, forcing her to take risks, Henin, when she doesn't like to, above her shoulder.
We heard Mary Jo say that Carlos Rodriguez's game plan was to Hardenne to keep the ball up the center of the court. Does she need to open the playbook a bit because she's getting worn out by this strategy?
Yeah, she definitely needs to open up. She's been the problem solver in this tournament when she's been a set down. But those two girls that she lost to, Sharapova and Davenport, play flat. The balls are getting up on her. She either needs to back up and have a little more patience and wait for a shot. Like right there, that ball is up too high for her to go for a winner on.
She was able to overcome first set losses to Davenport and to Sharapova, as Mary talked about problem solving, but who knows, maybe the emotional tank is a little bit empty. And here's what we're talking about, balls played up the center of the court by Hardenne.
You gotta love this if you're Mauresmo. You're getting batting practice. The other coach has told your player, hit the ball down the middle. I don't get it. I mean, considering Henin has so much more artillery and you're giving your opponent right down the middle, advantage Mauresmo. Poor coaching right there by Rodriguez. Go for your shots, Henin.
And from what you've seen, Mauresmo rock solid mentally in the second set. A couple of errors in that game. You thought, oh, is it starting to come apart? But no, she corrected it.
Like a good offense right now, she's moving the ball. The other defense is not stopping. Keep running the ball. Keep running. Keep getting the ball up. And I think we could see a repeat. Mauresmo is on her way.
It's interesting, the last time a player in an Australian Open women's final overcame a set as lopsided as 6-1 and won the match, 1935. Research department with Justine and Hardenne leaving the court, headed for the changing room. A break here. First set to Mauresmo, 6-1, halfway to the championship. And Hardenne back on court. Can she regroup? She will serve to begin the second set in a hole against Mauresmo. Back to Dick and Mary.
Well, I know our good friend Ted Schroeder, watching back in San Diego, California, probably remembers Dorothy Round in 35 from Great Britain, beating Nancy Wynne Bolton of Australia 1-6, 6-1, 6-3. That is a remarkable period of time as the second set opens. Well, it's almost imperative that Hardenne comes out, holds her serve to start this second set after that 6-1 beating in the opener.
Well, she had 35 double falls, Justine and Hardenne, coming into this match, and now she struck her first here of the day. She's just got nothing she can lean on right now.
And everything she tries fails, either because of Mauresmo's patient defensive play or the fact she can't execute, for example, that last shot. And again, how high the bounces are coming into Hardenne.
She tried to hit a winner from up high and from far back. It's not easy. It's a hard way to win a match.
Carlos Rodriguez, the coach of Hardenne since age 14. Now boldly coming forward at love 40.
15-14.
Takes one breaker away.
There are so few two-handed backhand players who come to the net. Jonas Bjorkman comes to mind. The guy who's going to be playing doubles with John McEnroe in a few weeks' time. You know, he's pretty much a double specialist, but all the others in the men's game, Taylor Dent, Tim Henman, Federer, they've got one-handed backhands. And these two women are among the very few in women's tennis who come in. It's just such a pleasure to watch. That's nice stuff. And again, the adjustments are being made. And Hardenne took a beating on that in that first set. So already in set two, she's changing things up. A couple of times she's been to the net. And she's winning from up there. So all of a sudden now, Amelie Mauresmo has something else to think about, something else to worry about.
Two winners at the net for Hardenne, denying 2 break points. Here's another for Mauresmo. Oh my, Mauresmo breaks to open the second set. And now it is serious for Justine and Hardenne.
Back in the day when the Australian Open was played on grass, Billie Jean King, Margaret Smith Court, they both had one-handed backhands. I mean, this is how you were raised to play. Billie, of course, her backhand was absolutely glorious, and her backhand volley too, Yvonne Goolagong. She too had, her backhand was better than her forehand. Of course, Martina Navratilova was good from everywhere, and Steffi Graf's backhand, especially on grass, where she could just knife it and it would skid low off the blades. That was just a tremendous shot. But here we are. We've mentioned before, it's not often that there's an all one-handed championship final these days. You have to go pretty far back. In fact, Turnbull, Mandlikova, that was when it was still on grass, and so too Navratilova and Mandlikova. So in the last 25 years, it's only happened 3 times on this now slow surface. When two-handed backhands became so popular when Chris Evert and Jimmy Connors got so good at it, and people started, young kids started playing with two-handed backhands and played baseline tennis. Only twice in the last 25 years have 2 one-handed players done that. But look at Wimbledon, where the court is quicker, where you have to play from everywhere on the court. There have been far more one-handed backhand finals, and most recently, of course, was Novotna and Tozia. Yana Novotna doing what Amelie Mauresmo is trying to do now, win a major title.
She won at age 29. She really tested patience.
her nerves and our own.
And tears.
Well, you see on the fast courts, on the faster surfaces, the one-handed backhands are more prevalent. And at the U.S. Open, of course, the last time there was an all one-handed backhand was back in '90. Actually, Sabatini beat Groff in that one. But as you can see, the faster the courts, you know, the more all-around athletic game you need.
The infrequency, however, isn't a testimony to the fact that the one-handed play is a negative. It's the fact that there's so few of them to get to the finals. Well, the incredible start by Amelie Mauresmo, and for the fans of Hardenne, their disappointment has taken some of the life out of the 15,000 here at Rod Laver Arena.
Well, they're hoping it becomes a match.
A very proper approach to spectating. Like the stiff back, the neck turn, hat cocked just a little bit. Nice tie. Championship.
Very nice. Again, all that work on the ball made it jump out wider than Anna could really do something with. And Mauresmo had already followed it up, gotten her spot into the net for the winner.
And point to consolidate the break. Maintain her lead here early in the second set.
Well, that I really feel is what Anna Hardenne must realize she has to do, work the point more. I'm not sure what she talked to the chair about just there. Perhaps she needs a... Looks like she might need a trainer.
Alison Lang from Great Britain, the umpire of this championship, and of course an honor to that woman to be named to supervise the championship final. 33 strokes in that last rally, the best of this match, and a necessary one for Anna Hardenne on game point for Two Love Mauresmo. The director of the championships.
Pam Whitecross of the WTA, who's obviously lining up what we're guessing is the trainer to come to the court.
Game.
Mauresmo, 6-1, Two Love.
Ladies and gentlemen, trainers being called to court.
Yeah, it's not a good sign. The trainer's been called to the court, and Justine and Hardenne, we have seen her in the past, however, playing with injury and exhaustion and somehow miraculously pulling out the goods to be a champion. Remember the U.S. Open? 2003. Many felt she might not even play in the final after a long Saturday night three-setter. Amber Donaldson.
She's called a doctor as well.
Holding her stomach as she explains what's bothering her.
No known injuries coming into this match, Dick. In fact, both players said they feel fitter here at the Australian 2006 than they both have felt in a long, long time.
Now, if this had happened 4 or 5 days ago when the roof was open and we had heat temperatures that were scorching, and finally extreme heat conditions imposed the closing of the roof. But today it's while it's somewhat humid, the temperature on the court is probably around 80 degrees up with all the fans here, 15,000. Fast, long-lasting double-strength Gaviscon is what the doctor has brought out to the court. Yeah, while they attend to Justine and Hardenne, we'll take this commercial break. And Hardenne and Mauresmo return to the court. We'll see how this ailment is going to affect her play. Down a set, down a break. Deep in trouble. Love to in the second set in this championship final against Amelie Mauresmo. Things couldn't look brighter for the Frenchwoman and nor darker for the former champion 2004 here in Australia.
Love 15.
Mary Jo Fernandez is trying to find out just what is ailing Justine. Sure looked like she was talking about an upset stomach. Which is, I guess, what Gaviscon is for.
Love 13.
Here she comes again.
Oh, this looks as if she's going to retire.
Wow.
And then is supposed to retire.
Oh, that's a shame. Not only for these fans in the championship, but for Mauresmo not to be able to complete the match. But on that note, finally, the Grand Slam title is hers.
It's something. She got through this title, and it is a pity, Dick, because she was playing great. But 3 times in this championship run of Amelie Mauresmo, someone retired against her. 17-year-old Michaela Krajicek did after the first set, and Clijsters, of course, couldn't finish at 3-2 in the third, and now this.
6-1, 2-love retired. Amelie Mauresmo has her first major title. And heartbreak for Justine Hardenne. Seemingly out of nowhere, this illness erupted. Coach Courteau will have something to celebrate tonight. Amelie Mauresmo is a wine connoisseur, has a fine cellar of her own, loves the French Reds, and they'll be able to open some good stuff tonight.
Well, this is where Amelie Mauresmo first made herself known at 19 years old. She got to the final here. She beat Lindsay Davenport in the semis before losing to Hingis in the final, but it was not an easy run for her because she came out. She was here traveling with her girlfriend, and she was very open about it. And Davenport made some derogatory remarks about how she plays like a man, and Hingis said she was half a man. And even now, Mauresmo, seeing Hingis again here at the championship, said it was a hard thing for her to get over. People were afraid she was going to lose her endorsements. Well, guess what? That didn't happen at all. In fact, she got more. She is a beloved athlete in the country of France and around the world for everything she stands for. She's thoughtful. She's come through a lot of tough times. And now she's won her first major title. And this could really change her whole career.
As you say, Yvonne Lendl, once he learned how to get to that trophy room, he didn't stop. And well, it may be now for Mauresmo. That best player not to have won a major title is gone. And what an unusual day for Melbourne. That's the second time in the history of the Australian Championships, going back to 1922, that the final has ended on a retirement. In 1965, Maria Bueno retired. Margaret Smith winning 5-7, 6-4, 5-2, and bad.
They're both crying, but for very different reasons.
Yeah, that's it's a sad way to finish. I mean, you want to be happier about a final, and you're happy for Mauresmo, but you know, she'll always look back and say, I wish I could have finished it and won, you know, the way I was going, and had a final score on the board, not that RET for retired. And for Hardenne, who has fought through some tough injuries and illnesses and managed to go on and win big matches, including majors, whatever it was, it certainly struck her down suddenly and finally today. '2006 Australian Open champion Amelie Mauresmo of France.
Moments ago, the uncomfortable concession by Justine and Hardenne. Tears, retiring after losing 8 of 9 games in this women's championship match. And Amelie Mauresmo, she has reasons to smile, but it's a bittersweet ending, Brad. I mean, no player wants to win a match this way, much less your first Grand Slam championship at age 26. Justine and Hardenne retiring for the 5th time in her career, but as Dick and Mary were saying, not only is it the 2nd retirement, just the 2nd in the women's title down here, it's only the 4th in Grand Slam women's championship match history, and the first time since '65.
You know what? She was 4 games from the finish line. You wanted to see her win the last point, have a proper celebration. It's a bittersweet way to win. Obviously, she wanted to win, but I can understand the other day Kleister's stopping. She had 2 pulled ligaments and potentially could have really, you know, done something bad to her career. It seemed like Henin maybe a little sick, but I would have liked to see her play those last 4 games. Even if she couldn't move, let your opponent win it properly. Let her have the celebration she deserves. But she's a fitting champion. She was the best player down here all tournament.
No doubt about that. This was a few minutes ago, a poignant moment, a conversation in French, no doubt, as Amelie Mauresmo consoling Justine and Hardenne as she tries to celebrate the moment of her career so far. Let's go courtside to Mary Jo Fernandez.
Chris, the official word at the moment is that Justine and Hardenne is suffering from an upset stomach, and I hope that it's a little worse than that, because I agree with Brad. I mean, the match is almost over. She was being outplayed. She's not feeling well. You sort of have to tough it out, because it is very bittersweet for Mauresmo, but she was the better player today from all parts of the court, and you do have to feel a little bit for Justine and Hardenne, but if it's just an upset stomach, you tough it out.
Mary Jo, I'm sitting next to a guy that's played, you know, 800 and some pro matches, and you never retired and won them. Lots of people have not felt well enough to finish a Grand Slam final, but they've kind of soldiered on. And upset stomach, I don't know.
What about Rolaids or something? I mean, get a little Pepto, something. If it's just an upset stomach, I'm going to walk out of here struggling with that. I mean, I know she's a great champion, but her opponent was playing unbelievable tennis, and I wanted to see her get to finish.
Amelie Mauresmo on the mobile phone speaking to someone close to her about this moment of her career, and you have to salute her. Yes, she did have 3 winning matches without her opponent able to complete it, but she earned it. She was the best player down here. Now Sandy Roberts with a presentation to Amelie Mauresmo. Momentary delay before the presentation begins. This crowd disappointed, deflated a bit, but they deserve to salute Amelie Mauresmo.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time now to commence our presentation following the final of the women's singles. And to commence the presentation, I'd like you to make welcome the President of Tennis Australia, Mr. Jeff Pollard.
Your Excellency, Mr. Premier, Ministers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, at this stage, as we congratulate Amelie, we also feel for Justine and do wish her a speedy recovery from her injury. I do want to take this opportunity of recognising that this year we had the strongest ever field in the Women's Singles Championships, in that we did have all 20 of the top 20 players in the world. We had 8 current or former #1 singles ranked players in the world, and we also had 11 players who had previously won a Grand Slam championship in singles. Of course, now we have 12. Amelie, I think in 1999, when you were runner-up here on this centre court, and many people here today were here then, when you were runner-up to Martina Hingis, we said that one day soon you would become a Grand Slam champion. And maybe it's taken a little bit longer than we all thought, including yourself, but it is wonderful to see that you are now a Grand Slam champion, and you've done it here in Australia, where you were runner-up 7 years ago. Justine, you were champion here in 2004. You couldn't play last year due to injury. It's certainly great to see you back on the court, playing well, winning in Sydney, the final here, and we do all, as I said, sincerely hope that this injury is very temporary. But good luck for the rest of the year. I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank our major sponsor, Kia Motors, associate sponsor, Garnier, and with me on the dais is Alain Nurad, the regional director for Australia, Africa, and the Pacific and Asia for L'Oreal, and of course the brand Garnier. I want to thank our other on-court partners, American Express, Aviva, the Ball Kids, IBM, Optus, and of course the Victorian State Government. Our other sponsors and suppliers, Channel 7 for the wonderful media coverage over the past couple of weeks, and all the other media, the umpires, the ball kids, the drivers, the court services, the statisticians, in particular the tournament chief executive Paul McNamee and all the team at the Australian Open. Our new referee, Wayne McEwen, his first year, and you, the public. It's wonderful to see this stadium and the outside courts and Garden Square full day after day for the whole fortnight of the Australian Open. Thank you all for your great support.
Thank you, Jeff. As Jeff mentioned, Alain Everard from Garnier is with us to assist in the presentation, and that's what we're going to get on with right now. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you'll make her very welcome. Sadly, the runner-up on this occasion to the Australian Open for 2006, Justine Hardenne.
Thank you. Feeling very disappointed for sure to end this tournament this way. Feeling very sorry for you guys that I couldn't find a little bit more today, but feeling so sick and I couldn't stay longer on the court, so I'm very sorry about that. And I want to congratulate Amelie because I think she waited so long to get a Grand Slam title, so congratulations. And thank you for your support. I think I had 2 great weeks. very frustrating it ends this way, but thank you so much, and thank you to my coach and all my entourage. Thank you for your support, and see you next year. Thanks.
Thank you, Justine. And we certainly look forward to your return in 2007. Well, I think she's waited a long time to hear this, ladies and gentlemen, but it's time now to announce the champion and the winner of the Australian Open for 2006, her first Grand Slam from France, Amelie Mauresmo.
Well, yeah, it's been a very long time, but I still don't know what to say, you know. I had time to think about it, but I don't know, probably my first words for Justine. It's disappointing for everybody, I think, for the tournament to end this way. So just hoping you're going to get better and recover quickly. And I don't know. I think all the people that still believed in me, you know, after 7 years, it's a long time, but we all, not only myself, but also people that are working with me, still believed in myself, you know, and really pushed me even when I was down. So thanks to Loïc, Mich, tout le monde, to everybody that is here. Thanks, guys. And you know, I'm sure, and you also, yeah. And you know, maybe we found a way, so we'll maybe try to keep going. And, I want to thank, of course, Kia and Garnier and all Tennis Australia, that really, you guys are making such a great event, not only here, but also in the couple weeks before this tournament. So, of course, I had a great time. And, you know, to you guys also, I've always had some good moments here in Australia. Some other were not so good, but yeah, it happens, you know, sometimes. But in the end, you know, I'm very happy, and thank to you guys for being here. And I have also, I want to thank Xavier, who's in France, my physical coach, and Nico also. You guys did a great job. Thanks.
Our champion, ladies and gentlemen, for 2006, Amelie Mauresmo.
Not a long wait, but a diverging champion of this first Grand Slam of 2006. The sad asterisk, her opponents in the semifinals and the finals, both being forced to retire. This match may be remembered as the surrender down under by some, but for Amelie Mauresmo, realization of a lifelong dream, a Grand Slam champion at last. Well, a strange ending, but a wonderful performance by Amelie Mauresmo these 2 weeks, and certainly in this championship match, a game plan executed to perfection. And she dispatches Justine Hardenne 6-1 in the first set. Ironic that Hardenne played perhaps her best point of the match right before seeking the trainer's assistance. And you can see this is an historic day in Grand Slam history. This just the fourth retirement in a women's final, and the first in 41 years. Brad's already made his feelings known about that.
I'm blown away.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel a little bit robbed because I really like the way Mauresmo was playing.
How about Mauresmo feeling a little bit robbed?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I wanted to see her get her celebrations, jump this out, whatever, but it was just such a sullen way to end it. And by those stats, it's been 40-something years and only 4 times in 100 years. So RETs in the finals are few and far between.
And she couldn't even celebrate truly the feeling of making it back to her first Grand Slam final because Kim Clijsters had to retire 5 games into the third set of the semifinal. That, of course, with a much more explainable and obvious injury.
I guess RET was the thing for Mauresmo here. Put 3 players out on the sidelines. Young Krajicek in the 3rd round tapped out after just a few games.
It also shows the balance right now in women's tennis. The last 8 Grand Slam titles have been won by 8 different players. Let's go back to Dick and Mary.
All right, gentlemen. Our feelings certainly are those of Brad's and Chris's as well. A couple of thoughts, postscripts. One, Amelie Mauresmo, by winning this championship, moves up to number 2 in the world, and with Kim Clijsters injured, undoubtedly will be number 1 if she continues playing like this. And 2, with her game, and we mentioned she's made it to the quarterfinals 14 of the last 16 slams. You know, who's to say that she won't use this to bound all the way through all 4? I mean, she's got the one
so she
chance
goes from winning her first to winning the entire Grand Slam?
That game translates well. She's going to finally win the French, don't you think?
I think that'll be the hardest one for her to win. I think that will always be the toughest. The grass, I've always liked her odds at Wimbledon. Absolutely.
And if she can win there, she can win at the U.S. Open. But that's getting a bit ahead of ourselves.
No one will ever win again, except Mauresmo.
And then the third is, and we're all left not only hurting for Mauresmo not being able to enjoy the jubilation of winning her first major title, but with the answers from Justine and Hardenne. I mean, when you think about that graphic, how many matches have been played in Grand Slam history, men and women, and how many times a player's gone out injured, not feeling well, sick during a match, heat stroke, whatever, and they managed to find their way through. I think about Andre Agassi at the French Open just a year ago, and it was hurtful to watch him hobble against Jarkko Nieminen, but he let Nieminen have his moment.
That's right, and we've seen that before. I mean, we've seen some. Remember the famous Correia-Pete Sampras U.S. Open match? Correia, Pete was, barfing on the court, and he still figured out a way to hang tough and recover. He ended up winning the U.S. Open that year. So, yes, I feel badly. And, who's to say just how rotten Justine and Hardenne feels. But I feel rotten that Mauresmo didn't get a chance.
What a moment this was.
How lovely is this? There's just one more reason to like the Frenchwoman Amelie Mauresmo going over there and just gently sitting down next to Justine and consoling her, I mean, I almost feel like Justine should have been the one going over to her saying, I'm sorry that it happened this way. But anyway, Amelie gets her first major, and I'm very, very pleased about that.
Yep, another great player finally takes to proper bow as a major title winner. Let's go back to Chris.
All right, Dick. Dick's putting the pressure on her for Roland Garros. The French media will do plenty of that after her first major title as we head to the red clay. But this is a great moment for Amelie Mauresmo, and as time passes, maybe it won't feel tainted for her as it might at this moment.
Well, maybe she could put the streak buster that, and in the last 8 majors, 8 different women. I'm telling you, if she plays like she did today, forgets about the whole French thing, she's the favorite on clay. Her game should translate perfectly. The high ball, she's won Rome 5 times. You know what? Move the chains forward. She could be the first one to win 2 straight.
As was said in the presentation, maybe it is the first of many to come now that she's finally broken through. Well, we've got a lot more tennis for you coming up here on Women's Championship Day. The men's doubles championship match is also coming up. The Bryan twins involved, and we'll preview tomorrow's men's final. This man, Marcos Baghdatis from Cyprus, trying to become the giant killer again against Roger Federer.